Hi, thank you for coming back from the break. It means a lot. So Kevin Nanny, I'm from Jobvite, and just a little spiel on Jobvite before I jump into the presentation. So if you're not familiar with Jobvite, we are a holistic recruiting platform. So started out as applicant tracking, and we've grown in to really focus on that recruiting funnel, so to speak. If you take a look at the marketing funnel with lead generation at the top, Jobvite has really focused on the same thing from the recruiting funnel. So, engaging passive candidates, referrals, job invitations, job posting, retargeting of jobs, really at the top of that funnel, down through engagement, your CRM, your talent pool management, nurturing those candidates, those passive candidates, turning them into active candidates, and then video interviewing and your classic ATS, the workflows, and those type of things, the collaboration down to the offer process. So just trying to summarize kind of what Jobvite does. We focus on that. The feature set is really all about those recruiting topics. So not going to talk about Jobvite during this presentation, though. That would be boring. So what I'd like to do is, and it kind of plays into what Katie was talking about with your company culture, is how do you put that into your hiring process? So how do you get your job seekers to think that you have the best place to work, right? So how do you want that culture to spread throughout the process? So one area to look at is really you're looking at that passive and active candidate, the two phases there. So on the active candidate side, right, you really want them to have this amazing candidate experience. I mean, they've applied to a rec, they're now active. You want their experience to be great because not everybody gets that job. And so you want to be transparent, you want to have open communication, you want their experience to be great because 99.9% of them are not going to get that job, and you don't want them to leave with a bad experience from your company. Now on the passive candidate side, it really gets into this conversation we were talking about with culture. How do you build that brand, right? How do you build this brand strategy for passive candidates? And it involves mobile. It involves being able to target your audience. So really this conversation today is really about this area of untapped opportunity here, because I talk to a ton of recruiting departments, right? We're at Jobvite, that's who we sell to. So we've got a couple thousand recruiting departments that we talk to. This is not as tapped in as it should be. It's not taken advantage of the way that it should be. So why do we care about branding? Why is it important for us to brand? Well, the job market, it's still hot. It's actually getting hotter. So Jobvite does all these surveys. We have a ton of data in our system. And, even the statistics labor says 5.6 unemployment, lowest since 2008, right? 43% of job seekers are stating that it is less difficult to find a job. And almost 70% of recruiters saying that hiring is getting harder. So what does this mean? Job seekers, they're getting more choosy. They have a choice, which makes your brand all that more important. Right? So how's your company branding? Even your employees today, 45% of them are satisfied with their job. They're happy. And again, this is from our survey results that we did in 2014 and this year already. So they're happy, but they're open to something else coming along. And 50% of them see their current job as a stepping stone into their next role or their next thing. And this is even worse with your millennials, right? 2 to 3 years, they get that itch even sooner. They're ready to move on to the next job. So where do these job seekers go? Obviously, we all know that they're tied into the social networks. This is not something new. What did surprise me with our stats that we got back from this is 67% use Facebook. Now, I don't think we see that as much here in the Bay Area, right? It's a tech-heavy area. It's a higher salary area. And so, we see LinkedIn and we see Twitter being heavily used here. But across the country, we're seeing Facebook sort of jump ahead a little bit when it comes to job seekers searching for jobs. Facebook knows it. They've made some changes. They continue to make changes. We're seeing it in our data on our platform as well. And, a good example, a good story about this is we actually sell to some oil and gas companies. And when they hire these guys to work on these rigs offshore, 100% of them are coming from Facebook, which is interesting. So it really depends on the type of job. So that surprised me just because we live in the Bay Area. So who do people trust? And I'm getting to the brand piece of this. Who do people really trust when they're thinking about or they're talking or they're looking at your company? Do they trust your pitch? Do they trust what the CEO and the marketing department's putting out? Or are they going to trust their peers and what they're saying? They're going to Glassdoor, right? They're going to these social sites, and they're seeing what people say about your company. And so this is an important area for you as part of building your brand to get ahead of this and stay on top of this. I know there's one recruiter here in the city that I talk to all the time. She's on Glassdoor every day, seeing what people and candidates, her silver medalists or rejects, are saying about their process. And their whole company keeps an eye on Glassdoor. So how do you start to build your brand? Where do you start to do this? Right? It really starts at your career website. It's the easiest place to do this. Katie talked about this in her presentation, but your career website, it needs to be alive. It needs to be a marketing tool. It needs to show what a day in the life is. It needs to have color and pictures and stories of people's trips, of their 18 Justin Timberlake concert views. That stuff needs to be on there because that'll be compelling to people. That'll resonate, right? They will stay on your website. It won't be click and go. Once you create this brand, right, use your career website, you create this brand. Work with your marketing groups. Once you have this brand, it's important that this brand goes through all your channels. Glassdoor, your other social networks. This brand needs to be consistent and the same, right? It's very important because people are hitting them all. So the other piece, and again, this is something that blows me away, but we got our survey results back from, actually this came from last year. Mobile, super important. If you go to your career website today on a mobile device, what does it look like? Right? So 43% of job seekers are using mobile to look for jobs. We actually have all these stats at Jobvite of where they're doing it too. It'd blow you away. They're doing it in the bathroom at work. I kid you not. It was like 17% or something. They're looking for jobs on their mobile devices, right? So, and here's a stat that doesn't make sense though. Almost 60% of recruiters that we surveyed said they have not invested in a mobile career site. There's a huge miss there, right? There's a huge gap. It's an easy place to jump in and do something about it. You don't want them going, it affects your culture, it affects your brand that they go to their website and it's a mess on their phone, right? So having this mobile optimized experience, it does pay off. Again, we surveyed our own customers. It does improve time to hire. It is improving the quality of candidates. So it does help your numbers when it comes to the hiring process. And it just helps your brand, right? Go to Logitech, go to GoDaddy, go to Jobvite.com. Look at the career websites and look at the brand and how it's pushed out through a mobile device. One area that is actually I'm a huge fan of, right? And marketing has perfected this, and recruiting is following those lines. But being able to personalize how you engage with your passive or non-active job seekers, right? So imagine the ability to go to a college career fair or some event that just focuses on tech hiring or focuses on sales hiring, and being able to tailor that message. So being able to take your brand and customize it, share the relevant content, share it through multiple channels, create landing pages, do all the things to build specific talent pools, like a marketing department would for a specific sales target. Being able for recruiters to do this with a simple, easy tool, to do this themselves without needing help, and take that brand and focus it on exactly what you're looking for, right? So that's another area where you can take your brand and move it along. So last slide, I promise. So delivering this seamless candidate experience, this is super important. This is probably one of the biggest things that you can do to take that culture and take that brand and push it down to the beginning of the hiring process. Is, look at your whole process for running a candidate through or a job seeker. Is it easy to apply? Is it mobile? Is it optimized? Right? Is it transparent and frequent? Are you closing the loop with these candidates? Is there a job seeker portal where they can go check the status if the recruiter has even seen what's going on, so it's not just a black hole, right? This affects your brand. Video interviewing. There's certain jobs that lend itself for video interviewing. What are those jobs? It can really take the load off your recruiting department, but it also helps your brand because you're building an image, you're building landing pages, you're taking them through this nice, easy, seamless process. And then, of course, hassle-free, on-site, quick communication, make fast decisions. The most important thing here, always close the loop with your job seeker. And I go back to that conversation about your silver medalists. Some people call them the rejected candidates. It's kind of harsh, but you're silver medalists. They're all silver medalists if you're not gold, right? close the loop. They're going to go on Glassdoor, and they're going to go to the section about interviews, and they're going to talk about their experience. And they're either going to rip you or they're going to say something nice, right? And this affects your brand. It's very, very important to stay ahead of this and respond on Glassdoor. Be professional, but always close the loop. So last slide, promise. How do you emulate your culture, as Katie talked about? How do you get your brand out there and make your company a best place to work perceived out in the, you can use your job seekers to do this. So that's all I had. I used my 11 minutes. I only had 10, so got through it. Any questions?
Awesome. Any questions for Kevin? It was just that good. No question. Thanks so much, Kevin.
All right.